Hemlock. And I've been in this situation where I've been, I had bonsai like paralysis, and I've been here before, and it's just this feeling of, like writer's block, creative block, where you aren't inspired to do any work yet. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, or you want to do a lot of work, but you don't know where to start. And so what I've done is I picked this tree that's, it's fairly simple in some ways. It's not a major styling, but it's also not like my nicest trees, because if I'm not inspired, I want to only work on my nicest trees when I'm like inspired for them, inspired / intimidated. But this tree I think is just a good start because it does need quite a bit of work, and it's in that like refinement phase. And so I don't, there's maybe a couple big decisions, but mostly I just want to trim it up, make it look nice, and get over my paralysis in the process, right? And so, in this tree there's a lot of these long branches, so they can be brought back to 2 buds or even back to littler buds here. But also, when I look at this tree, especially from this angle, but this is kind of the angle you want to see it, but from up above you don't see it as much. Problem is you get that branch. Here you don't, so that maybe needs to come up. We also have a situation where this branch here coming down is weird, right? Like, does that look like it's coming up? And it's a branch that's coming down. So, and it was to create depth with that back side, so I can move that back side out and pull this down and into there. Here it looks like it's been pushed down, or by the snow possibly, not entirely sure. But it's just too clumped. And same thing there with these. There's 2 big branches there that come out, and so either I have to consider hiding that. It's the same thing with this really thick branch. But and especially as I have the tree sort of conceptualized, I have it going to the left. That's this sort of arc with the trunk. Apex supposed to go to the left. This is like a main branch there, and yet this is this huge thick branch. So maybe it'll just be a little bit less directionally focused. But I like this idea of bringing this in here, this maybe down and out, and tilting that around. And so what it needs is a bunch of more defined smaller pads. So I'll have to try to break these up into multiple pads, put one back there somehow, here, just and make them more defined pads. And I'll see how many I can do it. So it's in that phase now where I get to break the branches apart to make finer, smaller but more compact pads. And this will just hopefully bring the tree, make it look much older. And I love the bark on this, and yet there's some flaws in that it's got like no taper all the way up till, it's got this one bend, and you look at it, the tree this is weird. I think this must have been the snow, but I haven't quite figured out where I want the apex. Maybe I do need it smushed down. Yeah, so thin it up, bring it in, give it a little bit of asymmetry this way. I think I can kind of hide the thickness of that branch. Yeah. So great tree to start on, because it just required tons of decision making, and a lot of work. And once I got in there, there was a bunch kind of sticking out, and it's just like I'm refining and wiring and unwiring. So I got it where I wanted. As you can see, I've opened up this branch. So I had it looped around there. I'm not entirely sure why I had it looped around there. Maybe I didn't like the movements I can get in it. Anyways, I opened it up, made it into, give me some directionality to this tree, as you can see over here. And then the apex is going to the left also. So, but yeah, and I broke up the pads, right? So I used, this was all one in there, right? And I broke that up there. I broke that one up a little bit, brought this back, separated that, made the pads smaller all around, knowing they're going to fill out, and the apex is full. It's going to get even fuller. And there are some as I opened up the structure, I realized that what I was doing was I was hiding a lot, because of these huge upper branches, and like this branch doesn't follow the same, it kind of goes straight down, and that's because it, you know, just how it's coming out of the tree, where the others kind of come up and down. And so that's a you know, what do you call that, lack of uniformity in the branch structure that I've noticed. But I think that this is actually probably going to get covered in with this in here. And yeah, let's take a closer look. See down here, I got some more depth. So some of the branches I had up this way, I had the tree all front. I got a little bit more depth, although this tree is still what you'd call pretty much in the front, meaning that most of the branches that you're seeing, not most, but a lot of them are front facing. But I like this, it invites you into the trunk a little bit, you know, and I didn't want to break it up because of this straight trunk. I did like these two little breaks, and they may even require a little more. And then if you look up top here, it's a huge S curve that I've made to try to get that branch in there and compact. But if you see it, you know, it comes up straight, fairly straight, and then you have this, so that top really does need to be hidden. The other thing that I realized is that, you know, I had made the apex in such a way that the branches weren't all going in the same direction. And I've done that with this one branch. And I'm a little wary because what I had done that is before, and there was no way to tweak and make it look right and grow and get the apex where I wanted it, with there's more of a head over here, you know, sort of leaning this way. Yeah, there's a big gap sort of in the back here. As you can see, I actually had to pull this. It was even more forward. I had to pull this back because I needed the apex back. It was too far, like, in front of the tree. But it's also left this sort of gap, and so, you know, some of these branches hopefully will grow into it. You can see back here some of the branching is happening. But yeah, and I had to bring some down, and so yeah, overall I'm, you know, super happy, and it did the trick. It got me over that sort of, where do I start, what do I start with, how do I start. But yeah, I mean, especially in the camera, you can just really see that branch. You know, in person it's hidden a little bit, but that's not necessarily a good thing. So, and you know, you see some interesting, you know, like the lower branches here. This branch is almost the primary branch or character branch, because it comes out just a teeny bit farther, but out, you know, out. You know, you can kind of see this. It's pretty uniform. So at some point, maybe it's a little bit more delineation between that, and try to get the pads a little cleaner, right? And I'm not plucking the lower needles off of these to get that, you know, really insane show quality, but also very unnatural. But I like it a lot. Look, I get these flat pads. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.